Okay, so ma'am, what are the kind of symptoms that occur? I mean, what are the pregnancy symptoms that one looks for and to confirm that it might be a pregnancy, and how to deal with those symptoms?
Now, this is again a very an interesting question, because we see lots of movies, and Bollywood movies are like, the patient, heroine actress faints, and then it's
Yes, there's a
pregnancy.
pregnancy. Yes, ma'am.
And I literally don't know how the doctor comes at home and she checks without a kit, without any investigation, and just declares, okay, she's positive.
Pregnant. Yes. So, even vomiting occurs, ma'am. If a vomit occurs, then it is said that usually if you're married, yes, and you vomit someday, it is usually, a confirmation from the elders that yes,
yes. And this is the reason why these things are looked like a taboo. So any girl in her reproductive age, she is not supposed to faint, she is not supposed to vomit, she is not supposed to have nausea and all that. So I would like to clear these things like in detail, I would say, because see, vomiting, first thing, why are these symptoms? When do these symptoms come into the picture? Now, as I said, that the growing embryo, it produces the hormone HCG. So this hormone is produced by the growing embryo, and this hormone then stimulates the ovaries of the mother to produce a hormone called as progesterone. Now, progesterone, P for progesterone and P for pregnancy. So progesterone is the pregnancy hormone. Yes. So I would like to emphasize on this that pregnancy. The support of pregnancy is the hormone progesterone. So it is the supporting pillar of pregnancy, I would say. So it's P for pregnancy, for progesterone. Yes, ma'am. Now, this hormone is very important for pregnancy to continue. Now, it has few roles, and I would again discuss that in detail. Is that when this embryo starts growing, obviously the level of this hormone called as beta HCG, that hormone level also keeps on increasing. Now at 5 weeks and 6 weeks, this hormone is not that strong enough in that level that it would literally cause vomiting and all these things. So this is not the first symptom most of the time. So most of the time, I would say like around 60 to 70% of cases, women first symptom they would feel is breast tenderness, because this hormone literally when it is in these lower phases, which is actually equal to the level premenstrual level, I would say. Before menses, this hormone level causes breast tenderness in few women. So same way it does cause breast tenderness first, and then there is this feeling of lethargy, weakness, and dizziness, like she literally sleeps for hours more than her usual time. So these are the initial symptoms, and then as the pregnancy progresses, then we see that the patient she suffers from all these nausea, morning sickness, and giddiness. So that is somewhere beyond 6, 7, and 8 weeks. So it doesn't come till that time. There's no nausea. There's no, because that level has not been attained. So that is the golden time when the pregnancy is confirmed and nausea has not set in, to have good meals. So that is the time when she can have perfect diet, very nutritious, balanced diet, so that later on when she starts getting these symptoms, it would be compensated. And then again, this progesterone hormone, now this hormone, what its role is, it keeps the uterus relaxed. The embryo is trying to go inside the wall of uterus. Uterus is getting irritated. So obviously it would like to push the embryo outside. It doesn't want someone to come and poke into the wall. So progesterone is needed here, and progesterone keeps the uterus silent. Now in cases in women when the progesterone level is not that high, then we see that uterus starts contract. we can see bleeding in those cases. So that is when we say that progesterone is not supporting enough. The internal progesterone. So to assist that, we gynecologists, we give her additional supplements of progesterone, support a pregnancy. This is when we have to enhance the effect of progesterone by giving pills. Progesterone also has some side effects, I would say, that it reduces the speed of the gastrointestinal tract.
Okay.
Because of this, whatever the patient eats remains in the stomach for a longer period. So obviously she won't feel hungry too soon. Then since the bowel movements have reduced, then we can see constipation in those cases.
Yes, ma'am.
Then when the growing uterus starts putting some pressure on the urinary bladder, the patient starts going to loo very frequently. Literally, even her nights are disturbed because she has to give these visits to the loo at least 2 to 3 times in the night also. So then these are there. Then again, muscle soreness, body ache, joint pain. These are the initial symptoms. These are all the symptoms of progesterone. Now, when a patient comes to us and says that, okay, I want to get rid of these symptoms, obviously these are because something that is protecting your pregnancy.
Yes, ma'am.
We cannot reduce that to that extent. So we can minimize that thing, but still somewhere you have to make up your mind that, okay, these are the natural symptoms. These are going to support my pregnancy and I need to continue. I need to find a way to tackle. So these are the symptoms: the breast tenderness, body ache, weakness, lethargy, fatigue, nausea. Now this nausea and vomiting, it is also called as morning sickness.
Yes,
so something that, okay, this happens only in the morning. I would like to correct here. This is not just in the morning. Can happen throughout the day, in the evening time also, at night also, and in the afternoon also. This is just the GI upset kind of symptom. So I'll tell you remedies for that also.
I wanted to ask that only.
Yes. So now these are the common symptoms. Obviously, we cannot just elevate these symptoms. We have to just correct our lifestyle in such a way, modify it in such a way that these will be corrected a little bit to make our life comfortable. Now, when we talk about morning sickness, the first thing we have to do is, since the bowel movements have reduced, so we have to keep on eating little quantity of meals, and very frequently. Obviously, if I used to eating like 2 chapatis in a meal, then that person should eat just 1 chapati, and 3 hours later she can have another chapati. Complete the schedule.
Got it.
So small meals frequently. And and preferably it should be dry snacks, dry meals. So anything, the pouring consistency like gravies and all will be hated by the patient. She won't like to have these runny vegetables and all, soups and all. So everything has to be dry. I think the first and the best thing that a pregnant woman she can do is, right in the morning when she is about to get up from the bed.
Yes, ma'am.
That time she has to have something very dry, like it can be toast, 2 or 3 biscuits. Then it can be 2 slices of bread, maybe a dry chapati. So these things, they will reduce the effect of the acid that is collected in the stomach overnight. So it will just help it will just move it forward. And after that, see, brushing again induces this sensation. So I don't recommend just getting up and brushing as the first thing. This habit has to be changed. First, without brushing her teeth, cleaning her mouth, she has to have something dry. Again, have a sleep, and always sleeping on the left side. Preferably closing your eyes. It just works wonders, because the sensation goes off, and when you sleep on the left side, the anatomy of stomach, it comes in such a position that vomiting is literally stopped.
Okay.
So this has to be practiced daily. And then after maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, she can just wake up and brush her teeth, and then carry on with all the things, morning schedule and all. So This has to be followed. Again, like every time she has some fruits, like if she is willing to have milk with protein powder, because this has become a ritual now. Everyone wants more and more proteins and all. So I would suggest everything to be taken separately. Do not mix fruits and milk. Do not mix even bread with fruits. So everything has to be eaten separately, and water intake should be in between those gaps to avoid bloating and more nausea. So this can be taken care of in this way. For constipation, now again this is very important. I literally have to prescribe something for constipation, like more fibers or syrups for constipation right in the first visit itself. For constipation, she has to eat more dals and pulses with the covering on. So these lentils, these legumes which has the cover, that those are very good in such cases to relieve constipation. And again, vegetables like lady's finger, like cluster beans, these are something that which will add fibers to your
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
and she can have literally sweet potatoes,
Okay.
all these leafy vegetables also, but provided they are cleaned thoroughly using 6 or 7 times like water that is used usually. Then now fruits which have seeds in them, like pomegranate, guavas, these fruits again help a lot when there are complaints of constipation. So these dietary changes have to be made. Then even wheat flour husk has to be added. Literally, I ask them to stop sieving their flour. They can add another flour also, like ragi flour can be added, which is a bit coarse in texture. That also takes care of the constipation part. This way, constipation is alleviated. Then now talking about breast tenderness. This is again a very sensitive issue, because literally it becomes very difficult for them to, like if they are working women, it becomes very difficult. So light breast support has to be used. Never try to massage the breast. Never use any pain relief or any kind of painkillers. And cold fomentation will help a lot. Many of you know, you must be having, like, people have these ice packs at home. Those can be used twice a day or thrice a day, like over a cloth maybe, to relieve these symptoms. That literally works wonders. One more home remedy, you know, like now obstetrics is such a thing that we doctors have to suggest some home remedies, because people are so fond of these remedies and all. So in old literature, this thing has been mentioned. I would like to stress on this thing. The cabbage leaves, the regular green ones. These leaves are rich in phosphorus and potassium. So these leaves work very well when there's an inflamed tissue, like tender breast, or maybe there's an inflammation on the legs or hand. These things used to be very beneficial in olden days, and it has been mentioned in literature also. These cabbage leaves have to be kept inside the inners for at least like twice a day or thrice a day for just 30 minutes, and this will literally give relief in breast tenderness. Later on, there's no need of using any medicine and all. So these things can be avoided.
My God, ma'am, great suggestions you are giving us. My God, very nice.
And it has literally, you know, these cabbage leaves, like many women, lactating women, when they say that we want to wean a baby to like other foods and all, and we want to stop breastfeeding, and we have engorged breast after delivery. That does happen in the first month. These cabbage leaves, literally, if you use them correctly, twice or thrice a day, you need not take any pills to relieve this pain and to stop the production of milk. Works wonders.
Wow.
Then again, for body ache and for muscles, like joint stiffness, muscle soreness. So for this thing, early morning you can have a warm water shower. Should be the first thing I would say. The moment you brush your teeth, you should be just going to the bathroom and you should shower. This warm water shower, when you take that, it will instantly reduce the joint pain. At least you will be very flexible. You will be able to comfortable to do all your work. Yeah, this has to be done. And some kind of brisk walking or jogging is recommended. I don't know why, but women, they are just afraid to even go downstairs and even walk. And the first question that pops up is, should I start walking? And I said, why you should stop walking in the first place?
It's not, yes, ma'am.
Yes, because bed rest is something is very rarely indicated in any pregnancy. Literally, in my 10 years career, I would have given I can just count it on fingers whom I suggested complete bed rest kind of thing. So this is not the thing that should be recommended. You should behave in a normal way.
Yes,
obviously you have to take care of yourself, avoid some complications and all, but then it should be a normal life, but with extraordinary things that should be added, elements should be added to your life. This definitely works very well. Now for frequency of urination, when there's increased frequency of urination, obviously you cannot do anything. The only thing you have to do is lots and lots of water to avoid any urinary tract infections. It's a very common during the early phase of pregnancy. So keeping the private parts clean, maintaining proper hygiene, drinking lots of water, wearing cotton and airy underwears. Again, very important. Underwears should be changed twice a day at least. And even panty liners, I recommend those, because in early pregnancy, white discharge tends to increase. Initial 2 or 3 months. So panty liners should be used, and that will take care of that white discharge and the itchiness and the discomfort. That will be used. And very mild, very normal exercises, even yoga can help with all, like half of the symptoms, I would literally say. These things have to be done. And again, the most important thing I would say, you must have heard of vitamin D and vitamin C and all these vitamins. There are 2 vitamins which are not mentioned anywhere. I call it as vitamin T and vitamin S. So vitamin T is touch. Touch is the most important, the essential part of pregnancy. Even when everything is fine and the woman, she is like a bit depressed, first thing I ask her, how is your personal relationship? This does play a very important role, because pregnancy is something that has to be enjoyed together.
Yes, ma'am.
And second thing is vitamin S, which is sunlight. Sunlight, it not just gives vitamin D, not just for vitamin D, but sunlight also plays an important role in the mental balance. So everyone who's depressed, even if they are not pregnant, everyone who's depressed or like some other mental problems, issues are there, and they just want to figure it out and all, first thing you should advise them is go and have a walk in the sunlight. Now this sunlight, it increases the dopamine and the serotonin levels. This serotonin increases the endorphins, and endorphins are the happy hormones. So these happy hormones are increased by just 15 minutes of sunlight.
Wow.
And just 15 minutes of touch. It's as simple as that.